Hey, I'm back again, and we're talking about your business or store or your studio setup. As you know from my introduction, you can be as simple as using your mobile phone or your laptop, just turning it on and saying hello to your customers or clients through Facebook Live, through YouTube Live. Or you can use your desktop computer, and you can do it in your store in front of Meet and call it Meet Monday, or you can just sit in at your home and in front of your computer, or you can be fancy like me and do something like this, which is easier to be able to train you. So let's go and have a look at how we set this up. So you have about 5 requirements that you need to have a studio set up. You need space, which sometimes can be a bit of a problem. I know for my house it is a bit of a problem. So I set it up in a very small space and keep it there, and no one's allowed to touch it. And then of course you need lights. I have decent lights today, so I'm looking pretty good. You need a computer or a smartphone to be able to broadcast on the internet. And of course you need the camera or a webcam to be able to connect and be the face of your business. And a microphone. Very important is the microphone. So let's have a look at first what about space. A lot of entrepreneurs, they just go outside and talk and walk with their smartphone and get onto the could be cell data, or yeah, it must be cell data, it couldn't be Wi-Fi, and they just broadcast on Facebook Live, and they just keep walking and they enjoy that way to do it. So the space to use is unlimited. Of course, it's all depending if the weather's good. If the weather's not good, I wouldn't go outside. For me, I try and keep my space to a bare minimum. So I've got about a 6 foot by 6 foot space, only because my desk is fairly big. And I've got my desktop computer, I've got my monitor, I've got my webcam. My webcam's on a tripod, and I'm looking into my webcam, trying to get it at the same level as me. And it's the best way to have control over how you look and how your video is. You need because you can't get too close to your webcam or your camera that you might be using, and you need to be able to put up walls to control the light streaming in during the day. It's dark now, so the only light is the lights from my stand's lights. So that really helps, because you don't notice any difference in the light because it's all the same. So the only way you can figure that all out is by trying it out, really. You do need a light on either side of you, in front of you, and then of course the webcam is in front of you, or the camera's in front of you, but you can't get too close to the webcam because there's a certain minimum, focus. So it's all a matter of trying it all out and figuring it all out, and hopefully by now I've got it so I actually look into the camera. You could dedicate a room or a closet to the studio, because you're turning on lights anyway, so if it's dark before you put the lights on, that actually works well, because your light can be consistent once you figure it all out. And of course you can, if it's all in one place, hidden away, then your children won't interrupt you and the dogs won't bark, and it'll be the same setup all the time, so you don't have to focus each time and do the lights and move around the lights and set up the lights if you've got a nice dedicated small spot for your studio. Just wondering if I should get you one of my lights, but I'll just wait and think about it. So in a store or an office, obviously you're going to have to pick a space to do your Facebook Lives, or stand in front of an area. I would recommend the same place each time. For example, standing in front of the Meet for Meet Monday, or the vitamin pills for Vitamins Wednesday. And then of course you always people know to stay away from you at that time, so you can do your live, although I'd recommend it probably when the store is closed. So, for example, Chocolate Johnny, he's on Periscope. He always broadcasts while creating his chocolate creations in his store, so that was always very interesting to look at because it's always fun to watch chocolate being made. Or like me, you can sit in the basement with a green screen behind me and get the studio video and make a TV show, create your own unique studio space, change your backdrop to whatever you like because you have control, because you have the green screen. I don't like those pasty white walls, so don't mind me, but they get kind of boring behind people, so it's great that I'm able to train with and be in front of you at the same time, because it makes it a bit more human, I think, for us. So, do you have adequate light? We've talked about this before, and it's very hard to see how I can demonstrate that for you, but I did show you those lights again. You can get a fairly simple 2-light plus a bag and hopefully some green screen for less than $200, and then there's a more complex one there with 4 lights and 5 lights or whatever. You can always do more. You can always, it's basically finding the light that you like on you. So if you can find, say, those small lights over on the left there, they'd just be on your table in front of you, and if that makes you look good, well, use those. You can use your smartphone and add a light to it, put it on a stand. Excuse me. You can, I have a ring light, which I'll show you. I'm not sure why I bought it, but I do have the light stands with umbrellas so that they reduce the light nicely. So I have a ring flash standing over there, and basically it's about this big as a box, and this is light. It can be warm or it can be cold light, depending on what you like. And what's interesting, of course, not that I do this, is that it has a mirror, so you can use it to do your makeup. But it also has an attachment for your smartphone, so you could turn on the light, have the smartphone, and do your broadcast of Facebook Live from this light only, because you're like within 5 inches of it. So that's worth considering, because that would take up too much space. But of course you'd have to use some smartphone all the time, although you could put a webcam nearby. So that's an idea for portable lights. In fact, it has a case, so I could actually go somewhere else and do a little talk somewhere with someone else and set that up. It's worth it, I guess. We'll see how I use it. So, yeah, so lights, you basically have to try what you can. And for video, a lot of people use their smartphone. It's because they're such high quality, and connect it into the Ethernet line, and then have some lights, obviously. So this is a Lightning Ethernet US 3 adapter, which I got. Where did I put it? Yeah, this is it. But I'm not into smartphones myself. Excuse me. But you can plug in your Ethernet here from the wall, and then plug in your phone here. And then instead of you having to use Wi-Fi or cellular data, you can use your Ethernet, which you must have. Most stores would have internet, I would think, because they have to do the sales and everything. So that would be a nice stable way to do it. I know a lot of people like using the smartphone because it's always there. So they just turn it on and do their little thing, and boom. Me, I'm not into that. Or you can use what I'm using, which is a webcam connected into your computer so it's quite a good flow. The Ethernet is doing very well into the computer, and lights, obviously, as I mentioned, the stands. You just adjust them and find enough lights depending on what the quality of the lights are. Or some people use a video camera or a DSLR camera connected to their computer. But for this, I found out you need an HDMI USB capture, which converts your which is the converts your HDMI, which comes from your camera or from your video camera, converts it into the proper system of video for this, which is the USB into your computer. I think that's how it works. Haven't tried it yet, but I would think it'd be better quality video because it's a better quality camera than a webcam. So that you can find out how to do that on YouTube. Just search for a camera connection to do live streaming. Excuse me. Okay. So I started a class also for fitness studios or guitar teachers or yoga teachers because they could use a close-up shot as well as an overall shot when they're doing all their demonstrations. And so you can do that also if you wish. You can use a two-camera system, as well to do different shots. I haven't set anything up here, but basically the webcam could be straight forward and then the video camera could be sideways, and you would connect it up using this into your video, and then you'd have two streaming videos into your broadcasting software. So, I mean, it's possible to do all kinds of things. I will mention that basically you probably wouldn't need that. You just need to do your webcam and your smartphone. Webcam and DSLR camera would be the way to do two camera system. You can check out Chris Heron's video production masterclass on Udemy. He uses at least 5 cameras to broadcast and shows you how to set it all up, and it's I found it very entertaining. I'm not sure that I would actually do it. He had one camera that was actually rolling on tracks, so they could do tracking shots. I mean, I don't need to do tracking shots. So, microphones. Do you have a good microphone? You need a good microphone. Blue Yeti, it's excellent and sturdy. Or a little cheaper is Blue Yeti Nano, which is a little smaller. I'm sure it's just as good sound. If you want to be able to be standing up and away from distance from the camera, then you might want to use a lavalier microphone, which has a transmitter, and then it's you can move around if you're that type of person. So you've got a microphone you need to get lights, you need to get a camera. Webcam is very reasonable. I would start there. Just use a webcam. Don't use the one in your laptop. If you can afford it, get a webcam. They're fairly reasonably priced and very good quality. Or you can go up to a video camera. But a lot of people use their smartphone and lights and with an Ethernet connection to do their daily chats or weekly chats. You need a dedicated space, whether a desk space or space in the basement or in your backyard. But I would not count on your backyard here because we have a lot of rain. But your space always has to be so that it's ready for you to sit down, turn on your webcam or smartphone any minute. Otherwise, you'll not do it on a regular basis. So this course is all about getting it into a habit of becoming on camera. So keep it in a space, and that will be great. Now, I think this is day 3. Day 3, studio communication and broadcasting software. So now, What software can you use to broadcast and live stream that you can use on your smartphone and your desktop computer? Just so you know, you can get an app from the Apple Store or Google Play or whatever for Facebook, Facebook obviously, and then you just turn on your Facebook Live when you're on the Facebook page. YouTube Live, you can get an app for that. StreamYard, you can probably get an app. XSplit, which I'm going to talk about later, is not on the phone yet. So other ones that you can use are Instagram TV or Periscope, which broadcasts to Twitter. So those apps are fairly easy to find on the stores. The only one that doesn't have one is XSplit. So where can you broadcast? Of course, Facebook Live. Within Facebook you can broadcast, but you also can find intermediate software so that you could broadcast from your Facebook Live to your website, so you're not stuck just on Facebook Live. YouTube Live, you can broadcast on YouTube and then take that link and put it onto your website so that you're also broadcasting live on your website, so you're not stuck just in YouTube. StreamYard, which we'll talk about later, is a broadcaster to Facebook pages, groups, and your profile, I believe. It will go for Periscope, YouTube, and I don't think anyone other than a few people who work for Microsoft are allowed to broadcast on LinkedIn, because I haven't got my invitation yet. Twitch and custom RTMP. We'll be talking more in depth on custom RTMP because I'm giving you your own RTMP information so that you can broadcast anytime and you're not dependent on it being on Facebook or YouTube. XSplit, you can broadcast to your Facebook profile, pages and groups, YouTube, Twitch, and your custom RTMP, multi-streaming. And of course, there's other minor software like Instagram TV or Periscope that you can stream to. And so live broadcasting on Facebook Live, I have some training on Facebook Live over in Coaching Genie that I mentioned in the links. So I'm not going to go over how to do it here, but it's good because your audience will get notification you're live. You can create an event on Facebook Live and your audience will get notified. You can take recordings of your videos and download them and put them other places because you have video now. You can put it on your website. You can interact with the people in chat if there are any while you're doing your Facebook Live, but don't count it unless you have a tribe who do follow you around, and hopefully you will, because you'll get into the habit of using Facebook Live regardless of whether or not you like it. And then of course YouTube. Let's look at YouTube. You can broadcast live on YouTube. It's owned by Google, so your YouTube Live will be high in search when you're doing it for your keywords, because of course they want to promote their own YouTube Lives, so that's great. You can schedule your event, and anyone who's subscribed to your channel will get notified that you're going to be going live, or that you have an event coming up, or that you've actually done it. YouTube is a search engine, so if you use the keywords you want your audience to find, they will find you with keywords. YouTube Live you can use on desktop or phone, just like a Facebook Live. However, YouTube has an editor, which is much easier to use than the Facebook Live one. So, well, anyway, we'll talk about editors later and editing video. You don't really need to, well, you could use it, I guess. Sorry. I'm getting distracted. So, yeah, so this is what I've done so far. We're up to broadcasting live. I gave you some trainings over in Coaching Genie, which I'll be moving back here onto this program on, I think it was on YouTube Live, Facebook Live definitely. I've just added in section week 2, Facebook marketing, so have a look at that, because it's a general overview of how to set up Facebook, why you should have a page, group, etc. And then we'll be going over next time about the more advanced broadcasting systems like StreamYard and XSplit, and why you should be using those instead of Facebook Live. Because, of course, as I mentioned, StreamYard, you can start in StreamYard and then broadcast to Facebook Live. You don't have to be on Facebook Live in order to stream to Facebook Live. As same with XSplit. You can start there in XSplit and then stream it over to Facebook, YouTube Live, etc., etc. So anyway, we'll talk about that next time. I've had enough for today. Thanks. And we'll be working on getting some information on you on your stream key and stream URL that I'm going to be giving you for your custom RTMP connections anywhere. So that will obviously be in this next section as well. Thank you for listening. Have a look. Don't get overwhelmed. We're just working on this. You can work on it for the next 5-6 months. Doesn't matter to me. I just think it's important that you become the face of your business, as I am.